right, so I feel like the second period went on forever, but we are 1-1 between Vancouver and Toronto. Overall, it was a pretty interesting second period. There was a lot going on. I think when it came to Vancouver, they were doing a lot better in this second period. From the start, they were more aggressive. They were putting Toronto under pressure, and they were creating more chances. I kind of thought when it came to Toronto, because Toronto was doing really well in the first period. I thought they were going to take that momentum, that energy, that intensity, and bring it to the second period, but that didn't really happen. It seemed like Vancouver was taking back control. But then we got a penalty, a Vancouver penalty. Miller would get a hit to Van Rieren. It would go to her head, and it ended up going to review. And it was a pretty long review. They wanted to make sure. Van Rieren, she did come off the ice to go get checked over. The good news is she was able to come back on. Miller, it was only a 2-minute minor penalty, and she was sent to the box. Toronto had a power play, but they couldn't really get anything from it. And then Miller would come out. However, I think she would have to go back into the box because, oh no, not she didn't have to go back into the box, but a Vancouver player, she did have to go back in because there was too many players on the ice. So it was back to a Toronto power play, but eventually Toronto would finally be able to score, I think after 26 shots. So it would be Harmon's goal, like a really good goal from her. But then 29 seconds, yes, 29 seconds later, they timed it. Sarah Nurse would score for Vancouver, making it 1-1. And you could just look at Reagan Kirk, and she was probably just looking at her team like, are you guys for real? Because I was probably thinking the same thing. Like, are you guys for real? Like, my God, you guys had to defend. Like, you have to defend. You can't just slack. Like, you have to do something. But yeah, so now we're 1-1 in the second period. But yeah, overall, it was a pretty good second period. Hopefully, when it comes to Toronto, they need to get back on the attack. It seemed like this second period, it seemed like it was mainly Vancouver, but then again, I feel like it was kind of split. But Toronto, they need to get on the attack. They need to get back in control. They need to create more chances, and they need to finish those chances. Because, yes, Vancouver, they had a lot of possession in the second period and were on the attack, but Toronto, they keep getting good chances, but they just can't finish.